all good. No, everything's great. Where are you located?
I am in Dallas,
Dallas,
and
Texas. Okay.
yes, I live in a very central part of Dallas. Where do
Okay.
you live? Where do you
I'm
live?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, I have been there.
Okay. Yeah, I've been through.
Yeah.
I've had a good time down in Dallas before. I went down and where was I at? It was at a small venue. I saw one of my favorite musicians from LA named Jason Faulkner, and had a great time there.
Oh, that's awesome. Was it downtown?
It was
I wonder if
downtown.
yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna come to me later on, but yeah, it was right in the heart of downtown, and it was wonderful. I had a great time there. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really you're quite a fan to travel to Dallas to see
yeah,
him.
I was a big fan of him when he was in Jellyfish, and I followed his career. And yeah, a group of friends of ours actually. He actually opened up for was it Air? No, Travis, the band Travis, the UK pop
Oh,
band. Yeah,
oh
so
wow. Oh,
it
oh,
was a
that's
good show.
oh,
Yeah.
that is awesome. That is awesome. Do you know him? Did you meet him after all that?
I years later I actually interviewed him and it was fascinating. I loved it.
What a great thing. And you were
Yeah.
able to tell him you were I mean, after following him like that, I mean, you had a lot of stories probably too.
We you know what's interesting is that we have these moments in life where we believe in a deity, we believe in something bigger than ourselves. And I actually I have a jazz radio show, so I interviewed a musician named Rachel Eckroth, and she's the keyboardist for St. Vincent. And I got a press pass when they came to town, and I was covering the show,
Mhm.
and it was right as the pandemic was kind of winding down. Everybody was relieved. It was an outdoor venue. It was the fall. It was perfect. And I'm sitting back with my wife watching the show, and I see this guitarist on stage, and I'm like, is that Jason Faulkner? I had no idea. So I go up, there he is, after all these years, and a good friend of mine that was the brother of somebody that I went to see him with in Dallas was right in the front row, and we both looked at each other like we saw a meteorite or a UFO land. It was like, oh my God, we're watching him. So it was
Oh my
cool.
gosh, it's like a deja vu moment, you know?
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah,
It was like
that
everything was.
is. Everything was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. It all came full circle. So it was
Yeah.
great. But you have a wonderful story. It's great to meet you. And I want to
Oh,
begin our conversation with what we've lived through, which kind of feels like a Twilight Zone thing. The last 3.5 years going through the pandemic. How did you survive it and how did it change you?
actually, there was a silver lining. So it was a blessing in disguise. I had been interviewing at fashion events, and it's not that glamorous because you're really running around like crazy and you're at the event and you're chasing people. A couple people would line up to wait to talk to me, but not a lot. I was usually like hounding people. New York was very difficult. And when I began thinking about doing something like this many years ago, my business plan involved solving problems like deeper than asking people about fashion and being fun. It be, when COVID happened, I think what happened to me happened to a lot of other people. There was a lot of time, and there was an excuse to now not go to these events because there weren't any. It would have been hard to say no, especially to Paris, and because I'd done that and I'd covered that in 2019, the Haute Couture, and that was really a beautiful experience. It was an opportunity to experiment. I'm actually a germaphobe, but not about COVID. So we were out and about and we were experimenting, and it was a tough journey, but it kind of led me now to what really matters. And it's not like I love fashion, but it's more now about wellness with fun,
Yeah.
with some laughs to kind of lighten it up because we all need to laugh. And
Yeah.
laughter is medicine within itself. And I've discovered that changing your perspective and helping people with the tools to do that is it's I think it's in my DNA. It's what
Yeah,
I was created to do after everything that I've been through.
for sure. So
So
let's
so it was right. It was re-examining, and I think
yeah.
it's an opportunity for people. Mhm.
Yeah, shining a light inside. So let's get to the essence of what you do for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career day. And one of the kids
Okay.
curiously asks you, what do you do for a living? How would you answer them?
Well, maybe they could relate. I could say I'm a babysitter. They see all adults as like babysitters, right?
Yeah,
From their perspective.
yeah,
So I want to, and our projects are now geared around helping people see how the power of what they can determine. They can change their perspective on themselves, which is crucial. Like, I believe the world would be like immensely different if people had a better perspective of themselves. So many problems are caused by low self esteem.
yeah,
Like, for example, you get in an argument with someone or someone hurts your feelings. And if your self esteem isn't strong, it's going to take a battering. But even if your self esteem is strong, you still need to step back and uplift your perspective because we make neon fast decisions. And so I would tell these third graders that I want people to think of themselves, the way they do,
yeah,
innocent, like a child, and that when grown-ups can be kind of, if they're not getting better, they're getting bitter, and showing people who they really are, showing people to trust in who they really are and to assert who they really are.
So,
Because as a kid, I mean, yes, go ahead.
yeah, no, no, you're good. You're good.
Well, as a child, I mean, you are hit by things, and I think it is hard for children because they don't have the ability to reason through and realize that maybe their mom's having a bad day, maybe their parents' problems aren't about them. Maybe if they get bullied, not to take it personally, because as a child, it's hard. So maybe I would just say, hey, I want you to think like a child, even though sometimes things happen to you that shouldn't be happening as when you're a child.
Yeah. So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream to grow up and become?
You know what? I think I was in the ozone. I think I probably, had the normal dreams of a fairy princess.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents were scientists, but they were so, they were, how do I say it again? They were so into what they were doing, and they were raised with rice cookers and math equations. They weren't raised with, psychology books and, fun. So it was tough growing up. I had a rough time with my father. I probably didn't want to be a scientist. Probably something like, Miss America or, Miss Hong Kong. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Something kind of, something I'm trying to think, you know, oh, I don't know. Maybe something like I grew up watching, Cinderella and all
Sure.
the fairy tales, and that was kind of my world. What
Yeah.
about you? What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a cop. I watched Chips growing up, so I saw the LAPD and I saw how cool Poncho was, and I wanted to do that. And then,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so then I realized what it was all about and quickly retreated. So my dream ultimately became wanting to be in broadcasting, and this is a version of it. So it all worked out.
When did you decide to do that?
Probably in my early teens when I got to be, I was a sports fan and I really wanted to get into sports broadcasting and I kind of pivoted and changed out of that. But that was kind of the beginning of the fascination
That
with
like
journalism.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, and you're doing a spectacular job. Do
Well,
you
thank you.
remember? I think a guy friend of mine. We haven't talked in years, but his wife was on Chips.
Oh,
She
really?
yes, yes,
Wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
I forgot her name. It's been so long, but she was like, was there like a nurse or something? Or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, she was a regular on Chips.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That would be
I know.
wild.
He was in showbiz too. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's very
A lot
cool.
n People don't talk about that show anymore. That's I love
I
it that you brought the show up.
Yeah, I know. It's wild. And we're getting to a point now where there's a lot of younger generations that have no idea. It's like deer in headlights. They don't know what it is, and it's kind of a secret
I
now,
know.
you know?
I know. That's what oh gosh, it's like but some shows do transcend,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, like the Brady Bunch and a
Oh,
few,
yeah.
but it's a classic,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely the
Yeah,
classics.
like
So,
Cheers.
oh
Mhm.
yeah, Cheers, all those shows, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, they're seminal. So, who's been kind of a hero for you? Who's been an inspiration for you in your life?
I've had many heroes. I've had good friends that were heroes that I just looked up to so much. I became a new person in my life. I went through this really horrible period in college. I mean, college was a very easy place. I didn't really have to study that much because I'd gone to a very hard high school, you know, girls' school. I didn't really have to study much in college. It should have been like just a dream world, but I was really struggling with, I was just such a lost soul. And I came kind of to the end of myself. And then I started becoming like a new person. It was really weird. And my heroes were people that God placed in my life along the way to kind of like just mentor me and be an example of oh, how do I say it again? Of how to be a good person,
Yeah.
how to treat people right, how to do so many things. And I still dearly love the friends that were there, but as I've grown, your heroes change. And my old mentor, Paul Ninus, said, because we were talking about good friends or best friends, he said, your best friend is someone that's satisfying or filling your needs in the present. So, my heroes have been like people that have changed, my second mom. Um, I have to say that, like, I'm not religious, but God is my hero. I've have to trust him. And let me think. There, I have a few professionals in my life right now because we have a team, and I'm really blessed because some of the people on my team are actually my heroes.
Yeah. That's
It's
wonderful.
wonderful. Yes, it's wonderful to work with people that are there to serve and not
Yeah.
to take. And that was a big lesson that I had to learn how to find those people, how to recognize them.
Absolutely. So what's been the best advice you've ever gotten?
The best advice, let's see, from a mentor or from I can give you one example.
Yeah.
One thing that Paul Nines told me many years ago, may I tell you two? And one of them is it's not what people say, it's what people do. And that 90 something percent of people's dreams and goals don't work out because of issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those were two really good things. And along the way, I have an old pastor. He passed away 2 years ago, but he had a lot of good pieces of wisdom, like let people go, like be free with people, be loose, like let people come in and out of your life. Because
Yeah.
sometimes something doesn't work out with someone, and you want to hold on to it, but it's really healthier if they're not maybe in your life.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they walked away or you had to walk away.
Yeah.
So I gave you 4, I think. It's hard
Yeah.
to narrow it
No,
down.
that's good. No, that's great. So what is the motivation for you? Every day you wake up, you're helping people, but you're also evolving and growing. What is that motivation for you to do that every day?
I I don't I really don't believe that you're gonna be in the plan that you're supposed to be in, that you're on the right plan unless that involves helping people. But there's also a balance between learning and growing within yourself and getting free. And my life for the last 20 years has been pretty full of getting set free from baggage.
Yeah.
So it's like a process of growing and, rising to the challenges. And I mean, I recently went through a very difficult time and I'm now coming out of it. And there wasn't a lot of joy, but I learned my lessons. And it seems like when you learn what you're supposed to learn, that those things may have been there to show you something too,
Yeah.
and also to build character within you.
Yeah. So with all the people that you've helped, all the clients, what's your favorite success story?
Well, I have to tell you that I've actually some of the people on my team have really grown with our approach to redoing our perspective.
Yeah.
And that has really made a difference to me. And then, like, when you say clients, I mean, I have to say that viewers, I've had people tell me that watching some of our past stuff really elevated them to a better place.
Yeah.
But we haven't let our biggest projects come out yet. So we have some things. I really can't say much about them except that they're humor and wellness focused.
Yeah.
And they're just in a place right now where I'm not really allowed to talk about it that
Sure.
much. But there's a lot of humor and there's a lot of wellness. And it's like laughter and feeling good about yourself.
Good.
And there's some really good production involved too. And I have like a great team here, and then I have somebody in Los Angeles that's amazing. So
Yeah.
I love to get ideas, and I know that years ago I had a friend and he criticized me. He said, "You talk to too many people." But it's really good for if you're in something creative to get input from different people because you get a different perspective.
Yeah.
And you can decide, okay, that will work or that won't. But I love getting feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's very
Don't
essential.
you?
Yeah.
Haven't you found it too for what you do?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I love meeting all kinds of different people, and I think it just makes you grow. It gives you perspective. I think sometimes the hardest part of being a human on this planet is feeling alone. Even when you're with a lot of
Yeah.
people, if it's not
Yeah.
meaningful, if it's not something that is mutually beneficial, it can feel empty. So you don't know that until you interchange with a variety of people, and you just don't know what you're going to run into. I mean, covering jazz music for all the years that I've done it. I've
Hmm.
really appreciated the fact that all of the things that they do happen once. And it makes me appreciate the fact that that's the way it is with life too. Nothing can be duplicated, not even Groundhog Day. It's like everything is just a little bit different, and everybody's perspective just self edifies and makes you better.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So it's never the same as what you were saying.
Yeah, it's
It
always
was always
fresh.
different. It wasn't the same old thing every day.
Right. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
it's always fresh, you know?
And you would get very bored very
Oh, yeah.
quickly.
Yes.
You'd be like,
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
hibernating. Okay.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, the one thing about life is that we grow. And I'm curious, if you had a dream tonight, you ran into the 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on all of the interactions, all of the wisdom that you've gained in your life, what advice would you give your younger self?
I would say that before you run out and look for life, you know, find find your faith.
Yeah.
Find your faith and work on yourself. Because I think most people have I've just seen in my life, and especially lately because I've gotten more intuitive and more sensitive, I've just seen there's so many things that people have to battle, you know, and they're already battling with like baggage, and I think if people could deal more with those lies about themselves, that it would just put them so much more in a place where they would not only be able to find their life purpose, but they would be in a much better place to do it. Instead of being in a position where you're just working for a check,
Yeah.
if you work on yourself, you might get to the place where, okay, I can whittle down my daily expenses, my overhead, and I can really go after what I feel like I was created to do, and just in relationships too. And I really believe in transparency and being honest. And it's, I haven't always been that way, but now I am. And I demand that out of my friendships, you know, tell me
Yeah.
the truth, and I don't care if you messed up, but just, you know, learn from it and don't tell me it didn't happen because
Yeah.
I know it did. And the same with me too, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So, of all of the things that you've done and become and evolved into and overcome, what are you the proudest of?
I am proudest of just becoming my quirky, zany self, I guess. Just overcoming things and like I'm not married and I've had opportunities, but how do I say this again? Oh gosh. It's not conforming to what other people would expect of me or what I would have thought I needed to be,
Yeah.
but just, having that peace within myself and having a relationship, with my higher power, with God,
Yeah.
you know.
I dig it. Absolutely.
Oh,
So,
thank you. Thank
yeah,
you
I
for
get
that.
it. I totally get it. So, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, everybody that you touch in your life, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Okay. I think I'm a flawed being. I think I make a lot of mistakes, but I think I really take them to heart and learn from them. And I know I'm incredibly sensitive. I know that, how do I say again? I think I have a heart to serve. I think I have a sense of, let's see, a, s- a stronger sense of myself than before. Like if I get hurt by someone, it doesn't rattle me like it used to, you know? And what I'm really happy about are the connections that I've been able to make with people that are just real.
Yeah.
And it's like having people in your life. It's not like we're not supposed to be the takers. It's like an even thing, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're a taker, sometimes we're a giver, and just kind of going with the flow with that.
Yeah. I like that. That's a great answer. So, Dora, if anyone wants to learn more about your world, reach out to you, anything in regards to what you're doing, where can they go?
I love Instagram,
Okay.
so that's the most updated. But I do it to let y'all know that I am on a little break right now. But when we come back, we'll come back with a bang.
Okay.
And if you look at the past stuff, there's some funny stuff, there's some wellness. And oh, I don't have it perfected, but could I do a little thing? It's going to take about a minute and a
Yeah.
half.
Please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, let me set it up. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about perspectives. So
Okay.
just bear with me.
Absolutely.
Perspectives are truly powerful. In 1990, I was living in Paris, the most glam city in the world. And it was so glam, but I couldn't afford new sneakers. So here I am walking down the streets of Paris with sneakers with holes. Okay. Okay, here's a French guy. Ooh la la. In 2019, I'm walking down the streets of Paris on the Champs-Elysees wearing my brand new Art 13 sneakers with holes, fashionable holes.
Yeah.
French guy. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. Okay. Holes became cool. The perspective changed. I
Yes.
went from being ashamed to strutting my stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh la la. Okay, that's enough. All right. So just a change in perspective can also incredibly change your life. Simply change your perspective on yourself.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's it. That's really what it comes down to, for sure. Well, Dora, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come out, what's new. It's so wonderful to catch up with you during this holiday season. Have a great
Thank you.
Christmas and a wonderful
Thank
2024.
thank you, Joe. So enjoyed this. Thank you.
Me
All right.
too. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.